Nottonson.
Nottonson.
Sounds so British when we say it.
Because it just reminds me of...
It sounds British anyways, honestly.
Yeah, it is a bit of a British name.
It does.
My full name is Maxwell William Nottonson, which, you correct me if I'm wrong, you guys are the experts, but yeah, I think that sounds a little bit British.
That is so British.
That sounds more British than Clark sounds.
Why did the can crusher quit his job?
I don't know.
It was just so depressing.
I can't even fake laugh at that. Can't
That
even
was
fake
awful. I'm sorry, they get worse and worse. I'm running out of jokes.
That's absolutely atrocious.
Welcome back to it's episode 60, which is Guests Lost.
First guest loss we've had in a while.
Yeah, we have a very...
But it's a big one.
We have a very exciting guest today. It is Max Nottonson. Is that right? Nottonson?
That's right.
Do you want to give people a little idea of what it is you do? Just a quick summary.
Sure. I think what I'm known for, I say very lightly, but I've built a little bit of a following on Instagram, mainly through sharing fitness and lifestyle and like nutrition, wellness related content. And more recently, with my startup in that space, I've built a little bit of a TikTok following as well. So yeah. I guess in short, I'm like a content creator, fitness, nutrition, lifestyle, quote unquote, expert. And my specialty is more in like sustainability and habit formation and making sure the actions you're taking are lifestyle focused.
Yes. I've been following you since 2018 and it was your account that got me to like lose a fuckload of weight and like get my shit in shape. So I'm very excited about this episode.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I've been following you for a long time and seen you go, because you started, when I first started following you, it was more like about like how to do workouts correctly and things like that, and like how the best way to diet and make it sustainable, like you say. Yeah, I've just seen you build this company and everything out of it. It's pretty fucking cool.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. It's funny because when you're saying you, like back in like 2018, probably around when you were starting to follow me, I guess the content that I would post was definitely a lot different from what and like how I'm posting now. Just a lot more, like you're saying, like workout focused and very like specific, typical fitness advice.
Yeah.
Kind of strayed away from that a little bit.
Yeah, but I'm glad you started with it because that's what got me hooked at the beginning. So it's good, but it's been good to follow it, and like I follow you and a couple of other people who's like have the same sort of mindset where it's all about being able to fucking sustain what you're doing, and not do these crazy fad diets and like try and shred down in 2 days and stuff like that. It's much more realistic than like normal social media influencers, you know?
I noticed that
thank you. Mm-hmm.
Sorry. I just noticed that on your TikTok, the way you were talking about how you shouldn't just get rid of carbs, which I thought was really interesting because a lot of the guys that I see on social media are always like, go carnivore, go keto. The sooner you get rid of these carbs out of your body and get the sugar levels down as quickly as you can, the better. So, like, why do you think that that's not the best way to go about it?
There are a lot of things in fitness and nutrition that work for achieving a certain result. So, like the carnivore diet, keto, or like on the other end of the spectrum, like low fat, or even things like cutting out certain food groups, cutting out alcohol. These are like pretty big steps that can achieve a result of, say, like weight loss, but they are way more restrictive of steps than what you need to do to see the same result and do it in a much more sustainable way. So like basically the common factor is a calorie deficit, is that you're managing your calories. Like when you're doing these giant steps, whatever calorie intake you were at before, naturally it's going to be a lot lower for however long you're consistent with that diet. And if you I don't know anybody who can stick to those diets long term, but if you can find a way to decrease your calorie intake and stick with it and do it in a much more like simple, approachable way, then you'll actually be able to maintain whatever results you achieve.
Yeah, I love that.
Point.
And then
love that philosophy.
You don't have to cut out things like fucking cake and and biscuits and cookies and shit.
Beer. Beer is a big one.
That's the main thing.
Beer is the tough one to get rid of.
Oh, I can't. That's the toughest thing to cut out of my life.
But it's so strange seeing a fitness influencer enjoying a pint. I think I saw in one of your stories. It was like you drinking a beer, and I was like, "Oh my god, this guy! He drinks beers."
Yeah, he's got
brilliant.
Yeah, I get some crap from some people because it's like you're supposed to be the vision of health and fitness, and you're posting I eat a lot of like sour candy and beer. I drink a good amount of beer, and I have dessert pretty much every day of my life. Like I probably eat more junk food than I should, and I'm not condoning that, but I like to show it because I like to be able to there's no way to say this without sounding cocky, but I like to think I am relatively fit.
Yeah,
and
mate, you've got a body of like a superhero.
Thank you. I guess I just like to show people that you can look a certain way and achieve this result while still doing those things. I really try to emphasize that point, maybe to a fault, but
no, I think it's good.
The point is there.
It's brilliant. It's refreshing. It's refreshing.
Yeah, because it means that you don't have to cut out all the nice things in life.
Absolutely, because when you think you've got to get fit and you see these shredded guys and you're like, oh, what have I got to do that? And your first thoughts, well, for me personally, are always like, okay, I've just got to get rid of everything I enjoy.
Yeah.
Denounce pleasure as a philosophy and just grind and grind and grind. So to hear that you don't have to necessarily hurt yourself almost.
Yeah, it's true. I get a little thrown off by it almost because I'm posting the same philosophy and these same things all the time, and I have been for years. And so I'm posting this still, and I'm like, am I just beating the dead horse? Don't people get this at this point? But there never ceases to be this enormous community of people who are still well, I cut out all my carbs and fats and happiness, and I'm still at the same weight. And there just will always be people that are believing that stuff, and also people that continue to spread it.
Definitely, especially when you're bringing in 500,000 views on TikTok. You're getting a lot of views that I saw today. Fucking hell. So you're reaching more.
Yeah, that was kind of bizarre. Yeah, TikTok is a weird one, but it's kind of fun to play around with. And you guys are on TikTok too, right?
Yeah,
that's right.
The algorithm is mad on TikTok. I don't understand it, but some days you'll get a fuckload of views, and then other days you just get none. It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird. It's similar to Instagram in that there's no way to be this is viral content. This isn't. But I will say, compared to my experience growing on Instagram, it's a little bit more predictable. When something goes viral, you can kind of see, okay, I could see why that might have hooked somebody in and why that might have applied to a broad audience. Yeah. And whereas on Instagram, it's a lot more obscure and kind of random and just hard for more people to do.
Yeah. I feel like Instagram's so difficult to grow a following on. Because
nowadays it's impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hashtag thing is weird too. I honestly grew my following from figuring out what kind of posts generally could go viral, but then there's a lot of trends involved. So I would do when I was building, I don't know if you guys would remember this or not, but the fitness industry was doing a lot of exercise examples where one side would be a check and one would be an X.
Yeah, I remember yours.
I would do them all the time because I figured out, I was oh, these are what are going viral. So if I can just do them well, then that'll help. And it worked. And then it was, I figured out shirtless pictures pictures where I looked decent would do pretty well. And infographics alone would do pretty well. So I was what if I did half and half where half the picture for no reason is me shirtless and then the other half is an infographic, and those did really well too. And just riding these trends worked.
I you used to do ones as well that I thought were really helpful. It was on one side, it was when you weren't tensing and weren't like properly posing as like a bodybuilder, and then the other side was when you were. And the caption was something about how this is what I look like normally, and then this is what I look like in like actual photos when I'm posing. And I think that's something good that people should show more, because people expect to look like fucking Deadpool all the time without tensing.
Exactly. Yeah, I appreciate that. To be honest, I can take very little credit for like, I mean, I definitely saw somebody else do that and was like, oh, I probably did it more because it was like going viral than because I like felt so like people need to see this. There was an element of that, don't get me wrong, but I agree with the message. I just like think I've probably come a long way since then, and values wise. So,
yeah.
But even if I wasn't doing it for the right reasons, I'm glad that like resonated with you, because it's true. It's like people see this and they're like, why don't I look this way, even though I've been working so hard? But that's one of like 150 pictures that happen to look like just the way they wanted it to.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, I respect the honesty.
Yeah. I love
really
it.
respect that.
It's really refreshing to see someone talk so normally about fitness.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Yeah. I figure if I'm always as like transparent as possible, it'll be harder for people to like call me out on stuff or trip me up. So I try to just leave a clean slate all the time.
Oh, that's smart. That's smart, especially when your face is being seen by so many people as well.
Yeah,
so
yeah, go ahead.
No, I was about to change it. You carry on. I was about to start talking about Nick.
Oh, actually, I do want to hear that. So yeah, you go for it. I wasn't even sure what I was going to say.
Perfect. So me and Clark have been having this debate. I'm very pro Nick, and he's very anti Nick.
Well, right. The thing is, yeah, Gingell does like neck day, where he trains his neck specifically. You said you don't want to be this big hench guy with a tiny little neck, tiny scrawny neck.
That was my philosophy.
Because
I saw this guy with a massive neck and I was like, that's the way to go. So what I basically do, I'll lie backwards on a bench, I'll put like a plate to my forehead and just do like curl ups.
Just the image of it makes me laugh. Like, just the thought of you doing it. I don't know, it might be a totally normal thing to do, but just the thought of you laying there like...
You just don't see anyone in the gym ever do training neck. So I was just wondering, Max, whether that's something that you train.
So that exercise is perfectly legitimate. It's like a real thing. There are different ways to train different parts of your neck. To the best of my knowledge, because this is not like my main area of expertise, but if like more of the like bulky neck look comes from the like traps and basically the back part of your neck as opposed to like the front part. So what you're doing is, I believe that's working a little bit more in the front, whereas something like if you were on your stomach doing the same thing but like going backwards and like up, that might work that part of your neck a little bit better. But yeah, it's legit, and there are exercises that can kind of put your spine in compromising positions. Like some people do neck bridges, and I haven't heard great things about those, but what you're doing, like that's a real exercise. It's just not common, because I think because it does kind of look goofy, so people just don't want to do it. And I have had like the intention to do it before. I've just never actually really incorporated it into my routine, just because I think I have never found, at least from like my point of view, that my neck was too like disproportionate to the rest of my physique. But if I started to get to that point, I think they would scare me enough to start incorporating that.
Fair enough. Because you see The Rock has these fucking, and like wrestlers have the big old bits up here.
Do.
Yeah.
And like, I suppose, I don't know how the fuck you train those, but like...
I guess the point where they literally look like penguins. You know what I mean? Like...
Yeah, it's, I know a lot of them do train neck directly. I think The Rock actually has like openly talked about training neck directly.
Really?
And there are things they're actually devices. I think it's the thing called like Iron Neck or something like that, where it's like a head device thing with like a chain, and you can basically like hang a plate from your head to do neck movement.
Oh, that's awesome.
So maybe that's worth looking into.
Yeah,
I don't know if it looks any less goofy, but
probably more.
But it's all right. We've both got our own sort of home gym setups at the moment, because obviously gyms are all closed, so it doesn't matter how goofy we look in our own house.
Yeah, I work out naked.
It's nice. You don't have to be presentable at all when you work out at home.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I've got currently kind of a nice middle ground where so in my apartment complex, we have a gym. So I'm like, I don't have to go outside to go to the gym. I just kind of walk downstairs, and it's like, they've got enough equipment, but I'm also not like going to the gym. It's kind of like I walk downstairs, which is
nice.
Nice balance. But what do you guys have for your home gym setups, equipment wise?
Some cheap shit.
We've got a bench, and then literally just a bench and dumbbells. That is all I've got, to be fair.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I've got a bench and some of those like cast iron build it yourself dumbbells, and a barbell as well. Yeah.
Okay.
And I've got
pretty
some
good.
of them.
The bench makes a difference.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, it's amazing.
Although it's a bit
Absolutely
wobbly, I feel a
benching.
bit unsafe on that fucking thing. It's gonna collapse. I'll die.
I don't know if I've sent you a picture, Clark, but mine's got like a screw that so there's two like plastic poles that come together, and there's a screw in the middle which keeps them together. And then as I'm benching it, and I'm benching more and more as time progresses, the bar is slowly going from that and just like this, and now I'm benching, I'm having to do it like that, and it's honestly like a
You're gonna die.
cartoon.
That's gonna snap and you're gonna die.
It's gonna ping back and just knock me out. See it coming, and I'm honestly just waiting for the day for that little screw to just break.
Oh god, fucking hell.
But that's the price that you pay for getting an Argos bench.
Yeah, I mean, mine is the issue of not having enough space, and I almost broke my TV yesterday because I got the barbell and I went to lay back and I just fucking slammed it right into the screen, and I was like, oh shit, have I just broken my telly? But I haven't. I was fine.
Oh, that's so brilliant that neck day is a thing. I'm very gassed about that. I can't lie. Also, I had some friends. I had loads of friends at uni that were quite tall and skinny, and they'd constantly complain about how they couldn't put weight on at any point, no matter how hard. They'd be training for like 6 months or some shit, and they'd still be like skinny as hell. And he'd turn to me, and be like, "Bro, I've been going to the gym like every 2 days for 6 months or so, and I'm just barely seeing anything happen." And I was just wondering, like, is that an actual thing, or is he just not actually doing the work, and is there like a way around it?
So like you're saying he's just been going to the gym. He says he's going to the gym super consistently, and like it just isn't seeing any progress.
Yeah, and he blames it on the fact that he's like very skinny.
I feel like for guys that are naturally skinnier, it's maybe a little more difficult to put on muscle, just because it's like your body is kind of used to being that way, and you're kind of further from that point of having more muscle. But there's definitely like it's never going to prevent you from it. It just might make it slightly more difficult or take a little bit longer. So I would imagine I don't know, kind of common situations that prevent people from being able to do that in that situation are they are switching up their workouts all the time. They're like just following whatever is on Instagram, or they're just going for like a pump. You know, the ultimate key to building muscle is progressive overload, where you're just getting stronger over time. So my advice to him, assuming he's not already doing that, is just pick a few like core compound movements for each muscle group and focus on lifting more volume with those movements over time, more weight, more sets, more reps, things like that. And, you know, just doing the boring stuff, but doing it a lot and getting better at it, as opposed to like chasing what's exciting. Not to assume he's doing that, but that's usually the problem.
That progressive overload is an issue when you've got your own home gym and you haven't got enough weights.
Oh, absolutely.
That's my main issue that I've got at the moment. Like, I don't have enough to actually up my weight on anything.
Yeah, that's kind of the main drawback of home workouts. You're pretty limited in progression. Eventually, the main thing is like you can go up in reps, but at a certain point you're doing like 50 reps with a certain weight, and you're like, all right, this is
all right, fucking
taking hours.
Yeah. So about beer, I've got the question. So the reason people get a belly is because of the calories that beer is, right? Like the amount of calories you consume.
Yeah, I think the term beer belly is because people who are consuming a lot of beer on a regular basis are naturally just very easily downing like a lot of extra calories. Yeah. And that can very quickly lead to weight gain. So it's not the beer itself, it's the calories from the beer.
Oh. So I can drink more beer as long as I'm under my calories for the day.
Absolutely.
Sick. I'll do that. Excellent.
That's going to be a diet of 10 beers a day now, isn't it?
And nothing else.
That's it.
Yeah, that's my main downfall is the fucking beer.
There's so many
it's tough because it's true. There's a lot of calories in beer and it's not filling. So like I love beer, so I'll fit in to my like ideal calories, like usually 1 or 2 more days than I'd like to admit. And you have to keep track of it, but like, yeah, again, it's not the beer that's causing any weight gain or lack of weight loss. It's just the fact that what was I saying? Basically, the beer is like not that filling, so you don't want to take too many of your calories up with it, because if you have a ton of beer and then you only have like 1,000 calories left for the day, it's tough to fill yourself up on just 1,000 calories of food.
That's true. That is true. I mean, do you track everything that you eat then? Are you at the point now where you don't really need to?
I feel like I probably don't need to, but I'm very much used to it. So right now, at least, like I've had periods of time where I don't, and I just find it helps to be exact, because I can, like, if I'm not tracking and I want to indulge a bit, then I feel a little less, and this is just me, by the way, I feel a little less sure that I'm like still within range of my ideal calories. But if I'm tracking, I'm like, oh, I have this many calories left before I'm like kind of out of that zone. Right. So it's just that certainty that helps. But, it's not for everybody. Some people can get kind of obsessive about it, and it's not necessarily healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. It does I think that's the main way that I managed to lose a bit of weight. I say it like I was fucking huge, but I lost like 2 stone. And
you started on keto, didn't you?
Yeah, that was the thing. I started on keto because I saw everyone talking about like how great keto is, and your body goes into like ketosis and all that. And I don't think I did it strict enough for my body to ever go into ketosis. But it was just, that was a way of me tracking everything that I ate and making sure that I didn't go over the calories for the day. And that just, I feel like tracking the food is the best way to do it.
Right. And it's weird to me that people are like, oh, well, there are different approaches to losing weight. You can try a calorie deficit. You can try keto. You can track your calories. But like they say these as if these are like 3 different things and they're each like a diet that you go on. It's like, not really. Like, it's not at all. Like, keto is a diet and I don't really agree with it necessarily, but tracking your like a calorie deficit is the non-negotiable. Tracking your calories is something that can help with any of them. So I don't know. There's a lot of ways people talk about this stuff that I don't fully understand, but I don't blame it on them. There is so much misinformation out there and it's tough because a lot of the people spreading the misinformation just tried something and it worked because of like what I was saying before, where like a lot of things can work. So then they're like, oh, this works, so this must be right. So everybody needs to know.
Yeah.
But it might not actually be the best way of doing it.
Exactly. And usually it isn't.
Yeah. The reason I was successful with the whole keto thing was, I think it was just because cutting the carbs was just the easiest way for me to cut out any calories without having to really think too much. Because I must have just been eating way too many carbs.
And by the way, I didn't mean to be like trashing on you about the keto thing.
No. You're the expert.
Well, it's tough because I can't say it does technically work if you're in a calorie deficit. And for some people, going a lot lower with carbs maybe is the right solution, especially if what they're overeating is mostly from carbs.
Yeah,
but it's like, I never like to say like, this is how you lose weight, or like condone anybody who is saying that, because it just naturally confuses people a lot and gives them the wrong impression.
Oh, okay. Definitely. You got respect for nuance, I guess. So earlier, Max, you were talking about how your intentions with what you're doing have changed from when you started out doing social media to where you are now. So it made me wonder, what kind of got you into it in the first place?
Like into just fitness in general, you mean?
Yeah, not social media, but fitness itself.
Yeah, good question. I feel like most people's stories are like, I was severely overweight and, I had this giant transformation, but that definitely wasn't the case for me. I started going to the gym because like my senior year of high school, a guy I was friends with got a membership to Planet Fitness, which I'm not sure if they have that in the UK, but it's like very much the beginner gym, like the gym for people for like lunks. I don't know. They've got a whole brand. It's working for them, but yeah, it's like not this typical gym. And I was like, I don't want to do that. Not even because that wasn't like my kind of gym, but because I had no interest in working out or doing anything really? Like that whatsoever. Yeah, that was like not me. And then I went with him, and I don't remember if that first time something about it I must have liked. I really can't even remember why, but I just kind of like, he never went back again after that. And for whatever reason, I like got a membership and I just decided to keep going. And me consistently working out got me to see that I could like start making some changes. And then I was like, if I do more with my nutrition, like what could I do then? And the more like I started to see results and actually was like liking the way I was looking and seeing that I actually had control over that, the more I stuck with it. And I went through a lot of different phases where like, I think the overall progression over time has been to be less strict, but like, because I was strict in the beginning, I would like get pretty lean, but then it wouldn't be like sustainable. And then I would kind of, I don't know, it was a little bit of like a rocky path, but the more I learned and better understood things, and definitely like following the right people on social media helped me with this too. I could have very well followed some crazy, keto zealot and intermittent fasting, like, somebody who's like preaching without totally knowing what they're talking about, which there are plenty of. But fortunately, I think I followed some of the right people and got aligned with the right information. And over time, like I was saying before, I've just come more to a place where I'm like fine with not being this massive, shredded, like optimal peak performance person. And I'd rather just like the way I look, like the way I feel, be comfortable and feel good about my habits, and also like just enjoy the life that I'm living. That's kind of my relationship with fitness now.
I think that's the best way to be. So do you still like do the whole bulking and cutting thing, or are you just like happy with where you are and not bother?
I'm almost like hesitant to, I hate to get like nitpicky about language, but I almost get hesitant to like call them that myself these days, because let's say like the past couple months have been more of like a cutting phase for me, where like it's not like I'm actively trying to get to a certain point of leanness or like a body fat percentage.
Right.
But it's like, if anything, I'm moving towards getting leaner, but I'll have like a week or a day where I'm eating a lot more than is like my ideal target. And I'm just like not really holding myself to that. It's just on days where I have control over it and it's like not interfering with anything, I'll be in like a slight calorie deficit and I'll be hitting a certain protein target. So that balance of being flexible, but also like kind of pushing in that direction, has generally kept me in the same place. If I wanted to, I could probably like push more for getting leaner, or like if I decided I wanted more muscle, I could go in the other direction. But I actually just before this, put up an Instagram post talking about this, not to like plug myself, but
oh no, we're gonna plug all your shit right at the end, mate. Don't worry.
I appreciate it. I just kind of talking about this exact thing where it's like I have a tough time, at least these days, really getting to a point where I'm like very actively bulking or very actively cutting, because I'm so aligned like value wise with just wanting to like live my life and still be like fit, so to speak, but like live my life. Like I prioritize that so much more that it just doesn't make sense for me to push too hard in either of those directions. Yeah,
that makes perfect sense. I mean, because you see like celebrities, like all of the Marvel celebrities and stuff, I've watched many videos about how they get their superhero bodies, and they all talk about how they had to completely cut out carbs. They had to just eat shitload of chicken and steamed veg and stuff like that. And with what you're saying, you can get the body you want without having to go that extreme. So why do they do it? Why do they put themselves through hell? I don't understand.
I think it's like, the most appealing. Well, so first of all, they're trying to get a result fast. So they're doing these things because they're probably not going to stay doing these habits for life. So they're like, for a couple months or even like a year, I can do this, especially with as much money is going into it in most cases, where they have a coach on them every day. They have this food handed to them on a platter. Like it's, I don't know every detail about this world, but from what I would imagine, it's probably a lot easier for somebody with that kind of money and in that kind of position. And also steroids. Steroids are usually involved.
That's another question I have. Is The Rock on steroids?
I think there are times in the past where he almost you never know for sure, but I mean, if I were to, I could probably very comfortably bet that at points in his career he was, especially like, did you ever see the movie? I never saw this, but I saw like advertisements for it. I think it's called Pain and Gain with Mark Wahlberg.
Oh yeah.
I've seen clips of it.
Okay, yeah. So it's like the two of them are bodybuilders, and I mean both of them. Like, there's no way they're not on steroids. I just don't think probably neither of them, but at least The Rock. Like, I don't think he is anymore. Yeah. So for most movies, if you need to get ripped fast, like that's what they'll do, and they have a fairly safe ways of going about it. Again, because of the money and just position they're in. But that's the best of my knowledge. That's the truth.
Haha. Okay. I've always wanted to know.
What about you guys? Where are you each individually with like your own fitness and habits in that regard?
Not super.
No judgment, by the way. Yeah.
No, I mean, I think we both do it pretty much every day, like workout.
Yeah.
But another question was about rest days. I take rest days, but Gingell, you don't, do you?
No, I'll just go. Basically, what I do a 3-day rotation of different parts. So I'll do like shoulders and arms in the same day, and then I'll do back and chest, and I'll do legs and abs, and I'll do like I'll do each of those groups every 3 days. You see, and then I won't ever take a rest day, because my theory, and this could be completely wrong, but my theory is that when I train it, that body part, that the following 2 days are then the rest day for that body part, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think with that split, I would say maybe there's like a catch to that, where if you're training back and chest one day, you're also indirectly, in some ways maybe more directly than others, training those other muscle groups like your arms or your shoulders. So it wouldn't, I don't know, that's just like me nitpicking, but I think it's less about like making sure you're hitting it as frequently as you can while still having like some rest for it, and more about
That's so cute. Oh my god.
Yeah, this is Teddy, by the way.
Yeah. Teddy, oh my god. Oh, my heart just melted. A dog has just walked on screen for anyone who isn't watching.
So you reckon
Good
it's
time,
worth
man.
chucking a rest day just like after the 3 and then do another 3 days and then a rest day?
So I will disclaim this by saying, first and foremost, the most important thing is always going to be what you can stick to and what you like and what gets you doing it consistently. So if like in your heart, like this is like what you're passionate about and the way your life is right now, like this just like makes sense for you, then power to you. I will say, I think the most amount of days you should be training during the week where you can still achieve like optimal results is 6, because I think you should at least have one day where you're not resistance training and you are kind of giving your body a break. But I mean, it's hard for me to say this because back when I was more towards the beginning of my training, I felt like really shitty if I took a rest day. It was like hard for me to do. And
I fucking love a rest day.
I missed it. I missed the pump.
Yeah, it's tough, but it's like it took me a while and I think it helps to just like have really learned. I think what helped me the most to get comfortable with balancing like rest days and training, because right now I train 3, maybe 4 days a week, and that's like a good balance for me. And it helped me a lot to get to that point by doing it and being like, oh, I'm staying in the same exact shape that I was, and this is a lot more sustainable for me. So just like proving to myself that it actually was fine. And you know, I still like am active on rest days. Like I go for like walks, and I do that pretty much every single day, but I'm not like resistance training because I feel good with giving my body that rest.
No, fair play. This is such good information because
it's absolutely brilliant.
I am at least a fucking idiot when it comes to all this shit.
I'm glad this is helpful. Yeah, I can never tell if I'm like saying stuff people already know or if I don't know. I appreciate the reassurance.
I think especially, I don't know what it's like in the US, but in the UK, in schools, you're not taught anything about how to eat well or how to like maintain a decent healthy weight and stuff like that. You're just basically told like eat a balanced diet, eat 5 a day, and then that's it.
Here's how you put a condom on.
Yeah.
That's it.
You get the really creepy sex ed and that's it.
Right, the important stuff for 4th graders to be learning.
Yeah, exactly. What the fuck?
This is key material, this.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty similar in the US where it's like people who aren't really qualified to teach this stuff are usually the ones teaching it. So like what's weird to me is, and this could be different in the UK, I'm not sure, but like from my experience, dietitians, like registered dietitians, tend to be like by far the most reputable people when it comes to teaching nutrition and teaching how to achieve a balanced diet without like sacrificing a lifestyle and just doing it in a sustainable, like mentally healthy way. And there are like almost any doctor that I've encountered feels entitled to be giving nutrition advice anyways. So like my pediatrician would be like, oh, well, you have to eat this and you have to take these vitamins. And like, as I got older, especially as I started to learn this stuff more, I'm like, you have no idea what you're talking about. And you're like telling all these people this stuff who like trust you. And it's tough because I don't fault them necessarily, because a lot of people think they really know this stuff, especially if you're a doctor. You probably would assume, oh, of course I understand what people need to eat, but it's a lot more complicated. It's more complicated and it's more simple than people make it out to be. And it's hard to find somebody who actually knows what they're talking about. Not to like toot my own horn, but
no, it's true. Especially when the doctor's like a proper fat bloke with like heart problems trying to give you life advice.
Exactly.
Been chain smoking 20 days for years. It's like, oh
yeah.
I trust this man to save my life. It's mad.
Yeah, but yeah, then like to your point, even in schools, what they do teach of nutrition, like at the few times that they do make it a priority to teach it, which is weird that it's not, because it affects like every single living person, but they're like just teaching very broad, like you need to eat a healthy diet. And most people either have no idea what that means or assume they know what it means and also have no idea what it means.
Yeah.
It's so true. I always find this with schools, like all the stuff that you encounter once you finish school, you weren't taught about, like how to manage like relationships,
money,
fitness, health, money. Like these are like all the key things, and they're like, it's like the Chamber of Secrets. You know what I mean? Like there's a big vault of secrets they've all got, and they're just like, nope, we're gonna teach you Pythagoras.
I think I was just saying that to somebody the other day. Like, it's weird that it feels like random, the topics they pick to make the main priorities in school. They're like, how about geometry and chemistry? And then like a tiny percentage of people end up actually doing those things professionally.
Exactly. And it's like, I'd much rather learn how to set up a company. Like, where did you get your, like, any information on how to actually set up a company?
Like Instagram, or like from like doing research and wading through a bunch of bullshit, and also from like doing it wrong and realizing I did it wrong and then redoing it. Like it's definitely not from school is the short answer. School's just, I don't know, it doesn't teach you the right things really.
Could you possibly explain what is your company and like what it's about? Because I've seen you have this this tech service that I thought was interesting. I just didn't really understand it as such. Yeah,
perfect chance to plug. I appreciate the question.
Go for it.
So as I kind of mentioned, my philosophy towards fitness has like shifted a lot over time, and now that it's in the place where it is, where I'm like, okay, like I think there's a big demographic of people like me who want fitness to be a part of their lives, but don't want it to take over their lives. Like they have things they like to do, and they have a routine and a schedule, and they would love to incorporate fitness and healthier habits into their life. But the options that are available now are like, get on this workout app and get on this diet and somehow shift your entire life to fit this and act like it'll last you more than a week. So my thinking, I was like fitness coaching for a while, online with clients remotely. And I got to a point where that wasn't as like enjoyable for me. And so my best friend from my hometown, he and I started talking about this, and I was like, sharing this philosophy. And we eventually got to a point where we came up with the idea of just giving people one task to complete every day, where the goal was to do something that was a little more scalable than just like me coaching people. Cause I'm kind of like trading my time there. And I felt like you don't need to be like told every single thing that you're doing on a day-to-day basis to make progress. You just need to like start doing more of the right things and maybe a little less of the counterproductive things. So I think I'm giving a super elaborate explanation of this, but basically what Wellbe does is it's all through text message. And so you sign up and you just get sent one task to your phone every day. And it's kind of like the more tasks you do over time, the more progress you'll make towards your goal. So we have it set up so you can be working towards weight loss, muscle gain. Now we're like incorporating tracks for like things like self-development, unrelated to fitness.
Oh, right.
And then like maintenance, general health is another track. So it's kind of like, as opposed to being on a plan or changing your life, it's like you're living your life the way it is now. You just get sent one text per day with a task to complete, and you say whether or not you did the task. You can like request more information if you want to learn more about a task. But yeah, that's the idea.
Oh, sounds fucking sick. So it's called Wellbe.
Yes. And I should disclaim right now, it's only in US and Canada because we are through SMS text. Like the fees are different for international text. So hopefully this year we'll incorporate into like an app and be able to be a little more global and accessible. But I figured I should disclaim that.
Yeah, that's no worries. I mean, it sounds fucking great. If anyone there is or listening is in the US, sign up to Wellbe. The link will be in our description. We'll plug everything in the description. All of your socials.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Do you want to crack on with the questions game?
Yeah, I mean, well, firstly, what we used to do this thing where we each recommend a song every episode, but we've stopped doing it because we got bored of our own music tastes. But do you have a song that is your favorite song that you want to recommend for anyone to listen to?
Oh, wow. What genre are we talking? Because my two big genres are country music and hip hop. So kind of different ends of the spectrum.
Do one of both. One of each.
Yeah. I'm intrigued by the country.
Yeah, I gotta ask: is country? To what extent is country a thing in the UK?
Oh, not at all. Not at all. Mate.
There's no country artists in the UK.
To us, country music is Old Town Road.
Yeah.
Okay, that's funny.
Or like, I do like the occasional country song, but I couldn't tell you who the fuck sings them, or like, yeah, anything. But I like the sound of country music.
Okay, well, I'll do the country first. So, one of my like favorite country artists, who I've been following for probably like 2 or so years now. He just had an album that was like, I don't know if it still is, but it was like the biggest album in the world. He's like the first country artist to go mainstream to this extent. Morgan Wallen. Have you guys heard of him?
Morgan?
I can't say I have.
If you have Spotify, he had like a week where like he just dropped an album a couple weeks ago, and like all the songs from the album, it was kind of like the whole, like the Drake effect, where like every song from the album is in the top 50 for a little while.
Dangerous, the double album.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yes.
Yeah. So that'll be my recommendation. There's, let's see, what are some of the good songs are Sand in My Boots, Wasted on You, 865. Those are kind of like more of the hits, but there's some, I don't know. He's an incredible singer, and this is some of his best music in my opinion. So I definitely recommend.
Wicked. All right. Well, so Morgan Wallen. Let's everyone go and fucking download that album. Let's boost him even more.
He's killing it. It's cool to see like somebody who I followed like get so much success. So yeah, I'm curious if you guys like him, having like not been into country before, but if anybody's gonna kind of break you into that interest, then it's him.
All right, I'll give it a listen. I just like plunky guitars, so
there's a little plunky in it.
Wicked. What about the hip hop? Ginger was a big fan of hip hop.
Yeah,
so
I'm a big fan of hip hop.
Okay. So let me check my playlist. I want to give you guys a good one.
I see the dog looks ready to take off in a second.
Oh my god, that is the cutest dog
cute.
I've ever seen.
I'm praying he doesn't bark. He gets set off by like footsteps in the hall, so I'm hoping he doesn't destroy the audio. Okay, I like this. I want to be original, but I also want to like get it right and get something that people like. I think a song that gets me hyped and that I like is I'm a big Lil Baby fan. So
all right.
Yeah.
He one song of his recently that I like is he's just featured on it, but he like definitely steals the show. It's 24 by Money Man. Featuring Lil Baby.
Right. Just found it. Lovely.
It's a jam.
Fantastic. That going straight on the playlist.
Yep, we've got like a Spotify Get Lost music playlist thing that has all of our weird song recommendations on it.
I'll check it out. What do you guys like? Are you guys like hip hop guys or?
I'm big into my hip hop, so I like DaBaby, Kanye, massive Kanye fan.
He's a big Kanye fan.
Yeah. that kind of shit.
We've had many debates about Kanye on this podcast.
Do you like Jesus is King?
Oh, I actually did. Like I don't class myself as Christian, but still, I thought it was brilliant. Like the energy of the album is just fantastic.
Yeah, I could see the appeal. For me, I don't know. I'm also not Christian, but I don't know, something that it didn't really resonate with me. I could like see why it would, but for me, it like didn't really hit. But I of course respect the opinion.
It's completely different. It is completely different to everything he's done. It's crazy.
Yeah, it definitely
is. Such a brave move.
Well, he's been a bold bloke his entire career, hasn't he? Really?
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. Well, I'm into like sort of pop and rock and shit like that. I don't know anything. I'm one of those dickheads who just says anything catchy and I like it.
So kind of like see what's mainstream and tend to listen to that mostly. Yeah. So I'm.
He's a big McFly fan. He's a big McFly fan. I don't think we can overlook that. Do you have? Yeah. Have you heard of McFly over in the US?
McFly. I I don't think I've heard of it. Wait,
No, I don't. They haven't
No, I don't
really
think I
broken
have.
out into the US. I mean, they did one film with Lindsay Lohan like in 2003 or something.
Well,
but-
they didn't really break out into the UK either, to be fair.
Oh, fuck off! Yes, they did. No, yeah,
They're called
I
McFly.
McFly, yeah,
McFly.
like Marty McFly.
I will check them out. And are they like a rock band?
They're sort of they're pop rock, I'd say. They play their own instruments and shit. I think they're really good, but not many people agree. I think it's just because they used to have such a bad stigma because they were like a cheesy pop band at first. And,
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Like
Ginger
kind of like a
tries to
punk
roast
rock
me.
type vibe, like early 2000s movie kind of thing.
Some of their old stuff is quite punk rock, yeah. But
Okay.
yeah, it's. I mean, you might not like it, but
I'll check it out. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
ah, cheers. I'm gonna make them break out into the US.
Oh, days. I'm surprised they're not paying you for this.
Yeah, that's actually the only reason we got you on, just so that I can plug McFly.
My like Instagram bio 2 days from now, like #1 McFly fan. Like, break these guys out into the US.
Check out the new album.
Yeah. I love it.
Oh, brilliant. Well then, it's time for the questions game. The most embarrassing part of every episode we do.
Can't wait.
I can.
Right. Yeah, I've just got to think up a quick scene. So, me and Clark will go against each other, and then whoever wins shall be up against Max.
Yes. And then basically the winner gets to sign off the podcast and just say goodbye.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the scene for you and me, Clark, will be two boxers fighting.
Okay.
I mean, they get aggressive anyway, but I thought we'd throw us right in the deep end here.
Oh God. I dread this every episode.
Yeah, we still do it. Come on.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Are you ready?
Do I look ready?
Are you going to get knocked out?
Who's gonna knock me out?
Can you catch these hands?
What hands?
Fuck. It's so hard. Oh, fuck
God.
you. You
It's
won again.
awful. It's the most. It's difficult.
It is so hard.
You see
Right.
how bad we are at this. We've been doing this for like 65 or 55 episodes, and we're still shit.
Yeah.
So is it you just can't laugh, or you just can't stop from asking questions?
You can't
It's just-
stop, yeah. As soon as you reply with, like, if you take too long to reply, or you don't ask a question, then you lose. That's pretty much how it works. And whoever wins in this one gets to sign off the podcast.
Okay.
Which some would say is an honor, and some would say is just it's
burden.
difficult. It's a burden. Okay.
All right.
What are we doing? The boxer thing again?
No, the scene this time is Clark, you're spotting for Max.
Oh. I've never spotted for anyone in my life.
You'd be perfect for this.
Oh no. Okay. Are you ready?
Fuck, can we start over?
Yeah.
I'm like, what am I asking?
It's so difficult, isn't it?
Let's go.
All right.
Okay,
Now what?
last take.
That was
Let's go.
that was my only question that I have in my brain.
You
Alright.
can't with something better. Come on.
I'll start this one.
Okay.
Okay.
You got that weight okay?
How heavy is it?
Can you not tell?
No.
Oh, he's been done. He's been done.
I've been done.
That is a
Fuck
victory
me.
for Max.
I'm
It's
so
a weak
bad.
victory at best.
Yeah, but, we're fucking dreadful.
Before you sign
dear.
off, Max, I just want to say thank you for coming on today.
Yeah,
It's
thank
been-
you so much.
It's been great to be.
This
able
was
to
fun,
have
guys.
you on.
I really appreciate you having me on.
It's been wonderful. Everyone go and check out everything Max does.
Welby,
It'll be
all the Welby stuff.
all the Welby stuff, everything, all his Instagram, TikToks. Sign up for the text alerts if you are in the US or Canada.
Find a reasonable way to go hench.
Yeah, you want to look like The Rock? He's your guy. Yeah, and over to you, Max.
Oh wow. So am I like closing because I won?
Yeah,
that's how it goes.
You can say this has been the shittest experience of your life if you like. Is
This has been not the shittiest, but down at no. This has been fun. I'll say it's not as maybe like a little. I was a little nervous because it's difficult sometimes having like a conversation like this when you don't already know the people. But you guys have been awesome. This has been a lot of fun, and any nerves I had before have been eased. So I'm grateful for this experience, and definitely excited to keep in touch with you guys. And thanks everyone for listening.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.